Hi, I'm Untitled Patrick, and this is the ARC 160 Week 3 reading response. So the main idea of this week's response is to understand the various materials and finishes on both the interior and exterior of buildings, as well as the appropriate use of these materials in regards to budget, safety, and even geographic region. And some vocabulary words I'll be defining today are gypsum board, board siding, and stucco. So for interior wall finishes, we went over two. So there's plywood and gypsum board construction. This is generally used on the West Coast. And the reason this is used is because it is generally cheaper to do. Using gypsum board is very adaptable in regards to painting and wallpaper, and it requires relatively low skill to install. And instead of plastering whole walls like was done historically, gypsum boards are installed directly on the stud, and then the seams are plastered over. So it is easier in regards to that. And also, gypsum board has some degree of fire resistance. An example would be if there was a fire in another room, then you would have adequate time to escape to the outside. And gypsum board itself grants about 20 minutes of fire resistance. So the sheet sizes for gypsum board are generally 4 foot by 8 foot, which is the original size. However, there are larger ones that go up to 4 foot by 16 feet. And then gypsum thicknesses, 5/8 inches is used for commercial application, and then half-inch gypsum board is used for residential. So flooring, some examples we discussed in lecture were linoleum, concrete, terrazzo, vinyl, and tatami. So these are some various pros and cons listed. So for linoleum, it is water resistant and it is rugged. However, it is seen as a bit dated now. And then for concrete, something bad with concrete is that it contracts and then it cracks. So that is sort of an aesthetic issue. And then for terrazzo, it's very expensive to install as it is a skilled craft and it is made out of marble. And then vinyl is probably the easiest of all these materials. It is very easy to cut and then install on the floor. And then tatami is very expensive and it also is a fire hazard. And something I learned recently actually about linoleum is that vinyl is often commonly mistaken for linoleum flooring. So if you watch those house renovation shows and they tell people to rip out the linoleum floor, typically it's actually vinyl flooring instead. So that is a common misconception. And then in the reading this week, there is discussed exterior finishes. So two types of exterior finishes that I identified are board siding and stucco. So board siding is when solid wood elements are nailed directly onto the stud, and then typically there are two types of board siding. However, there are a lot more. So plywood is the cheaper option, and then shingle is a more labor-intensive option, and it does have a certain aesthetic. And then the other type of exterior finish is stucco. So stucco is strong, economical, and fire resistant, as well as easy to apply. So my question is, why is light frame construction the preferred method on the West Coast? Is a veneer really necessary rather than constructing out of masonry? Thank you.